Hello and welcome to your next practice. Today's practice is a Yin Yoga session. We'll be doing 5-minute holds. We'll be meditating on the sensation of breathing. So we'll use a Vipassana style meditation where we literally tune into the sensation of breathing at the nostrils and allow this to stabilize us, allow this to be a perch for our attention and awareness, especially when the mind is busy and likes to wander. So we'll begin the practice with a 5-minute meditation in a seated position. Before we begin, make sure that you have any props that you might need nearby. You might need a bolster, a cushion, a pillow, whatever you're using as a makeshift bolster. A block or 2 blocks, maybe a flat block and some bricks, whatever you feel you need. You could also use books. You know by now the nature of the game is to be inventive. I'm sitting on one flat block with my sit bones right to the front edge of the block, so I'm perched on the front edge of those sit bones. I have my legs crossed into Sukhasana or easy sitting pose, or square pose as it's known in Yin Yoga. However, if you want to sit in a different position for the 5-minute meditation, feel free to do so. Maybe you're back against the wall, maybe sitting in a kneeling position like hero pose or thunderbolt pose, maybe sitting on a bolster, something higher so that you feel comfortable and stable. I would like you to feel more comfortable than thinking about this yogic-like position for the next 5 minutes. The full attention needs to be on the sensation of breathing. Let us prepare. So once you have everything ready, we'll find the seated position that suits us. Slide the elbows underneath the shoulders. Feel like the crown of the head lifts up towards the ceiling slightly. Keep the chin parallel to the floor. Either with closed eyes or gently open eyes gazing at the tip of the nose. We find stillness in body. And then we become fully aware of the sensation of breathing. Notice the inhale. Notice the exhale. You might feel or sense a cooling sensation with that inhale, a warming sensation with that exhale. You'll notice the qualities of the breath. Maybe the breath feels smooth, maybe the breath feels rough, maybe the breath feels fast, maybe the breath feels slow, maybe the breath feels deep, maybe the breath feels shallow. At this moment, there is no judgment, and we just observe the breath as it is in this present moment. For the next few minutes, put all of your attention upon your breath. Allow the attention to come away from the breath. Allow the attention to come away from the breath and just come back to the physical body. Come back to the physical body. Come back to the body. Feel the body. And then begin to make gentle movements, maybe just circling the shoulders, around the hips, torso rotations. A big circle or a small circle, whatever feels nice for you. And then change direction, move the opposite way. And come back with the shoulders stacked above the hips. If you haven't done already, gently blink open the eyes. So we're going to take the first position, which will have extended legs. I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see. I'm going to sit up on a flat block again because it allows my pelvis to be in a good position for me to fold forward. So options here would be put a bolster underneath your knees and just allow yourself to fold down, maybe holding onto the feet or the calves. Head hangs down. You could put a block underneath your forehead to be a little bit higher. You could put a block over your knees. So we'll allow the upper back to fold down. Now, maybe you'd like to keep the legs a little bit longer, but just avoid over straightening or locking out the knees. And you might like your bolster on the front and top of your legs. And you could put the block on the bolster and just hold on like that. So it's completely up to you how you choose to do this, whether you'd like the support underneath your knees, especially if you're very mobile. If you have a tendency towards over flexibility, support under the knees. If you have a tendency of being very stiff, then I would say maybe keeping the legs long and getting more length in the calves and the hamstrings. So choose your variation. Relax the legs. You don't need to hold the legs strong or tight. Lengthen through the torso as you fold down and find that first edge. Support yourself as needed. And then let go. We could call Yin Yoga a suggestive practice, a practice where there are invitations, a lessening of the idea that we should, and more of an encouraging of the idea that we can or could. As we practice Yin Yoga postures, perhaps we could try to experience melting or unfolding, yielding, freeing, and surrendering. Stay with your breath just like in our beginning meditation. The breath is your anchor into your body and in this moment. Slowly, slowly uncurl your spine. Take a moment to lengthen and feel the crown of the head lifting up towards the ceiling. We'll move on. So the next posture that we'll be taking is cow face pose, or shoelace as they call it in Yin Yoga. So I'll face back towards you. I'm going to bend my right knee, so I'm mirroring you. I'm going to bend my right knee and just heel toe until my right heel's on the outside of my left hip. And the options could be to just step the left foot across to the outside of that right knee and maybe just let the head sink down. Maybe you'd like to have a block underneath the forehead. If you'd like to progress a little more, heel, toe, until the left heel's on the outside of the right hip and your knees are stacking one on top of the other. Lifting and elevating the pelvis, lifting the buttocks will help you get into the position. And if you want to, we can take a bolster for the head, a bolster for the chest, or simply give way to gravity and allow yourself to fold. So choosing whichever folding forward variation suits your body in this moment. Remember that the breath is the most important thing. Utilize the breath to keep you in this present moment. The natural inhale, the natural exhale. Noticing the sensations of the nostril. Please fold forward and down and begin. We need to take responsibility of what we are doing, letting go of wanting to go deeper in the posture, and just allowing ourselves to go deeper in the posture. When intensity is without too much tension, when we avoid sensations breaching the boundaries of being bearable, this is a profound way of practicing. We are aware of the volume of these sensations, lessening that which is too loud and focusing on the subtle. That is when we can relax, release, allow, yield, and soften. begin to rise back up. Lengthen through your spine. We're going to stay in the same position with the legs, but we'll go into a side bend position with the torso. So this one, you might need a block or even a bolster on your right hand side. I'm going to use both. And then just leaning over to the side and just see how that feels. If you want to go a little lower, just roll away the bolster. Maybe a block might feel better leaning over to the side. The head wants to sink down as if it's going down towards the floor on the right hand side. If you want to go a little deeper, drape your left arm over your head. We'll be in this position for 5 minutes. Again, your breath is all that matters. If you lose sensation or get pins and needles, please put your left hand back down. Enjoy.
Can we stretch with neither straining nor stressing? Can there be a lengthening that does not cause tension? Can we be inspired by the words of Vanda Scaravelli, who says, "Do not kill the instinct of the body for the glory of the pose." Remember, the breath encourages you to release and relax. So keep noticing, observing, watching, witnessing your breath.
Slowly put the left arm back down if you've lifted it. Press yourself away from the block on the right hand side using your right arm. Come up to an upright position with the spine. Just feel what you feel. And we'll change position for the legs. So uncross the legs, and this time it's the left foot that walks first over to the right hand side. So the left knee is pointing straight forward. Maybe the right foot is just stepping over to the outside of the left leg, or maybe you can heel toe, heel toe. Choosing to sit up on the block helps if you feel like it's hard to do so. And we're going to do a forward bend again, and then we're going to do a side bend again. So on this side, it might feel completely different to the other side. Feel free to adjust and prop differently. You can always move, but move mindfully. So no fidgeting, no moving unnecessarily. But if you feel you need to move, feel free to change the position when you need to. Lengthen through your spine, fold forward. Do you need to prop underneath the head? Maybe even underneath the arms. Maybe both. Choose your position and then let go.
Again, the breath is key. Breathe in warmth, spaciousness, and welcoming. Breathe out tension, tiredness, and tightness. Keeping the attention at the sensation of breathing at the nostrils. Or, if you feel a particular sensation in the body is claiming your attention, direct your breath into that area of restriction with a sense of openness for the inhale and a sense of release for the exhale.
slowly come back up to that upright spine. So you'll take your props over to the left-hand side, a block or a bolster or both. We'll be leaning down to the left side, bending and opening up the right-hand side, breathing into that rib cage on the right. Maybe taking the right arm overhead and letting the head sink down to the left-hand side. If at any point you get pins and needles or lose sensation, always remember you can take down that top right hand. So whenever you feel ready, find your own degree of leaning. Maybe you'd like to be much higher. Find your way into the position. Let go.
You're finding your first edge. The edge should be approached slowly and then held without fidgeting. The edge is a place where sensations are strong without you having to struggle to stay. So if you need to put down your arm at any point, feel free. Perhaps at some point over the posture you'll feel that energy may have shifted and your edge is a little further away. So you can allow the posture to become deeper. Or with a calm recognition, you will know that you have to ease away from the edge and go less deep.
Rising back up, find your upright position. Just hold it for a moment, feel what you feel. Then we'll move on into the next position. So this will be a long right leg slightly out to the right hand side with the sole of the left foot on the inside of the right thigh. You might want to prop underneath your left knee, maybe. We will be turning towards that long right leg, lengthening the torso and then folding down. So of course, you could have support under your head. You could have support over the leg. You could even have support under the leg. So allowing that forward bend. So choosing your variation, allow yourself to rest in the position with all attention and awareness upon your breath for the next 5 minutes. If you haven't already done so, take the position, let go.
The breath is a great guide. Breathing is a beautiful barometer for possibilities within the body. In Yin Yoga, the emphasis is on deepening and lengthening the breath, also directing that breath into places of tightness. We must realize that the length of the breath is more important than the length of the hamstrings, and the slowing of the breath is more important than the strength of the shoulders. This is not a strong sounding breath. It is a subtle, smooth, slow breath. The only person who hears the breath is the person practicing themselves. You might call it a tender breath.
Begin to rise all the way back up, moving slowly, moving carefully. Lengthen through the spine. We'll change position for the legs. So again, carefully, bending the right knee, extending out the left leg. If you're very mobile, very flexible, you might want to have something underneath your left knee. Then, as always, in this position, there's a torso rotation. So it's like you're pointing your torso down the long leg. You might want to prop underneath your forehead. You might want to prop underneath your arms. Maybe you'd like your arms held as you hold your forehead. Or you'd like the bolster down the legs. Whichever variation that you're taking, allow yourself to sink into it now.
There is a conscious tuning inward, a turning towards our current circumstances, an investigation of the breath and the body, so that we become more conscious of content rather than fixing our form. A guide for the practice of Yin Yoga is to ensure that softness and sustainability are always present. We stay reasonably still in the shapes without agitation or anxiety or fidgeting.
Slowly, slowly rise up. Take your time, feel what you feel. Lengthen through your spine. Then we'll move into our final yin posture, which will be a supported bridge. So a little back bend. So lying down on the back, taking a bolster or some blocks or a firm pillow underneath your pelvis. Choose, is this high enough for you right now? Maybe you'd like to go a little higher, supporting with another block or a cushion. The arms are out to the side, palms facing up. The ankles can remain underneath the knees, or if you want to feel a little bit more openness across the front body, stretch out the legs and you'll feel a hip extension. You'll feel an openness at the front of the hip joint. And then, as always, we come to our breath.
Yes, by William Stafford. It could happen any time. Tornado, earthquake, Armageddon. It could happen. Or sunshine, love, salvation. It could, you know. That's why we wake and look out. No guarantees in this life, but some bonuses, like morning, like right now, like noon, like evening.
Begin to bend the knees if they're not already bent. Lift the pelvis away from what supports it. Go down one piece at a time until eventually you're lying on your back in Shavasana. We'll just take a few breaths here.
This poem was written more than 700 years ago, and its message continues to be meaningful. The human body at peace with itself is more precious than the rarest gem. Cherish your body. It is yours this one time only. The human form is one with difficulty. It is easy to lose. All worldly things are brief, like lightning in the sky. This life you must know as the tiny splash of a raindrop, a thing of beauty that disappears even as it comes into being.
When you're ready, bend your knees. Plant the soles of the feet on the ground. Put the pelvis into a neutral position. No over-arched low back, no over-flattened low back. And then just to reset into stability after we've built all that flexibility, lift your right knee up so your right knee stacks above your right ankle. Lift your left leg up. Take your hands on top of the legs, on top of the knees. And now for 10 seconds, press the knees and hands firmly together. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower left foot, right foot. Roll onto one side and come up into a seated position to seal the practice. So that was time for you to really sink into your breath, to sink into this present moment. But I hope that you can keep that peace that you found and take it with you into the rest of your day or evening or week or year ahead. Thank you again for practicing with me. As always, finish your practice in peace and take that peace forward. Shia Khan.